If you want to be happier, if you want to make more money, if you want to get in better shape, if you'd like to feel a little bit more peaceful, if you want a mindfulness practice, if there's anything in your life that you really want to improve, having this system in place first thing in the morning, it's like pouring a foundation for a house that you're going to build. This is what you build on. And so let's get into the 6 things that science says you and I need to be doing in order to set ourselves up for success and build a system that unlocks the potential of your mind, body, and spirit. And the first thing is when that alarm rings, get up and start the day. Do not lie in bed. Do not hit the snooze button. Research shows that lying in bed, like I used to do, increases rumination. It makes your depression and your anxiety worse. And this is all based on research. There are so many studies that have proven this that I don't even want to waste the time listing it. In fact, this episode has a very robust notes section. You can always find it at the end of the description. You can also go to melrobbins.com where we have so many resources for every single episode, but the science and the research is very clear. Lying in bed is making how you feel worse, okay? And so how do you get out of bed? First, you can use my 5-second rule. I mean, I literally invented a trick to help me get out of bed 15 years ago, and it is super simple. As soon as the alarm rings or as soon as your eyes open, you're just going to count backwards 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom. Get out of bed. Just get out of bed. Move. And the reason why this works is because I've found that, in those moments where you hesitate and you stop and think about getting out of bed, if you hesitate for more than 5 seconds, you actually will lose all motivation to do it. But when you start counting backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you move, the second you start counting backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you've made a decision to get up. It's the domino effect. I don't know if you know this, but when you tip a domino, that first domino, it moves with a bit of force so that it can start knocking over something that's 2 to 3 to 4 times its size. And so counting backwards is this tiny little micro action that you take that starts the momentum rolling. Boom, get out of bed. Do not pick up your phone. This is critical. Do not pick up your phone. I have a rule personally that my phone is in my bathroom because then when the alarm goes off, I'm kind of screwed. I have to get out of bed to turn it off. And so that's one thing that I've done because I know if I have the chance to lay in bed, I just might. So I go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm up. And another reason why it's so important for you to just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up is because of the research that you've already learned. Cortisol levels are the highest in the morning. And so if you sit there and marinate in that stress and energy hormone, you will feel more depressed. You will feel less motivated. You will feel more anxious. Those things that you're spinning around in your mind, they're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're going to start to doubt yourself. That's why you got to push through. You got to get up and you got to get going. And that brings me to step number 2. Make your bed. Make your bed. You're standing up. You've turned off the alarm. You have not looked at your phone because, again, we're taking this time for you. You get 20 to 30 measly minutes, don't you, every morning? Before you let the world in? Of course you do. So step number 2, you're going to make your bed. Now, why is this important? There are so many reasons why. For those of us who are not morning people, one reason is because when you make the bed, you're not going to climb back into it, okay? And I know some of you are kind of laughing along, but it's true. But the more important reason is because when you make your bed every morning, it's a super simple thing that you can do that starts to build a little bit of discipline. And it's a way for you to just practice this skill where you just do what you need to do no matter how you feel. And one of the reasons why making your bed is a great thing to do right away is because of all this research around clutter. I mean, when you walk into an environment where the bed is messy and your laundry's all over the place and things need to be picked up, research shows that it can increase your anxiety. It can make you continue to feel depressed. In fact, I'm looking at this one study right now from Bond University in Australia that says your physical environment significantly influences your cognition, your emotions, and subsequent behaviors, including your relationships with other people. And so it's a simple thing that you can do that truly helps you feel like a disciplined person. It removes the visual clutter. It prevents you from climbing back in it. And here's the thing that I love the most. It's a gift that you're giving to yourself. Because every time that you walk back into your bedroom for the rest of the day or at the end of the night, you see this beautiful bed. You literally do. It's like this beautiful place for you to climb back into at the end of the day. And you've done that for yourself. And this is one of those things that sounds little, but it's actually really big. When you're taking care of yourself, you make your bed. When you're feeling good about life, you make your bed. When you're on top of your stuff, you've made your bed. It's just a sign, a simple sign that you care about yourself and that you take the time to clean up and tidy things. And that's a really important skill in life. And it translates in so many other areas. And so, boom, make your bed. And I'm going to add one more thing to this. For those of you that have a habit of hitting the snooze button or laying there and rotting and looking at your phone, just think about the difference. Think about the difference of just boom, you get up, boom, you make your bed. You have gone from a person whose first decision of the day is procrastinating to becoming a person that takes action and a person that has discipline and a person that cares about how you take care of yourself. And that's just in the first two steps. Now let's talk about the third one. The third one you're going to hate. And the third one you're going to resist doing. But the third one has so much crazy science around it that I wrote an entire best-selling book about it. And that third habit that I want you to do is something that you're going to add to your morning routine after you brush your teeth. So after you get up, you make your bed, you go to the bathroom, you brush your teeth. I want you to look in the mirror. I don't want you to say a thing. And I want you to simply high five your reflection. I know, it sounds crazy cheeseball. I got it. I understand. High five yourself in a mirror, Mel. Give me a break. I was with you getting out of bed when the alarm rang. I was with you in making the bed. I was with you with creating a system. High fiving myself in the mirror. Like, what is this? Let me tell you what this is. The science around this is so crazy that I'm going to read from my New York Times bestselling book, The High Five Habit. And the first thing that I'm going to read to you is this is on page 24 of this book. The reason why you want to high five yourself in the mirror, and you're not going to say a thing, comes from research from Dr. Lawrence Katz, who's a neurobiologist and researcher at Duke University. And he studies something called neurobics. Now, neurobics is a fancy term that basically describes the fastest and easiest way to create new neural pathways and connections in your brain. And the way that you tap into neurobics is you basically take a routine activity, which for you is brushing your teeth, standing there, looking in the mirror, and then you pair it with something unexpected. Like all of a sudden high-fiving yourself? That's kind of weird. And what happens is it snaps your brain into attention. And according to Dr. Katz, this little unexpected physical movement that you're now adding to something you already do, it's like a brain fertilizer that makes a new habit encode in your brain faster. So you might be wondering, well, what's the new habit, Mel? Well, the new habit's great. It's believing in yourself. Because now let's unpack what a high five is. When you high five someone else, what are you saying? You're saying, I see you, I believe in you, let's go, you got this. When you high five a team member, that's what you're saying. When you high five a family member, that's what you're saying. When you high five somebody on a team that just screwed up in a huddle, you're saying, shake it off, you got this. When you do this every morning in the mirror, you just activated brain fertilizer and you accelerated new wiring for a mindset that goes, I like the person in the mirror. I cheer for the person in the mirror. I believe in the person in the mirror. And it's crazy how this works. In fact, because you're probably like, okay, I kind of get that. Let me tell you something. Would you feel more inclined to create this system for yourself if you knew that this is what all the winning NBA teams do? Yep, they studied NBA teams and high fives. Let me read a little bit about that to you. For those of you that are curious, this is all in chapter 2 of the High Five Habit book. The chapter is Science Says This Works. And the study that I'm about to read to you is on page 22. And it's all about research from UC Berkeley. So UC Berkeley researchers studied NBA players' habits of success, and they took a look at teams in the beginning of their seasons, and they recorded how often players gave each other high fives and other signs of encouragements like a fist bump. Check this out. They were able to predict which teams would have the best records at the end of the season based on the number of high fives they were giving each other at the beginning of the season. Why? Well, the best NBA teams, I'm talking the ones who made it to the championships, they were the teams who gave each other the most high fives at the start of the season. Whoa. Why does this matter? Well, high fives are about trust. When you high five a team member, you're lifting them up instantly. The physical touch and the high five says, I got your back, man. Let's go. We got this. It helps you shake off a bad play. It lifts your mood. It communicates confidence, and it reminds you that you can win. Now, when you do this in the mirror to yourself, you are your own best teammate. And you're leveraging this amazing science and the brain fertilizer to accelerate programming a mindset of winning, of resilience, of believing in yourself, and of cheering in yourself. And that's why a silent high five in the mirror right after you brush your teeth is the third science-backed thing that I want you to do. And that brings me to number 4. Drink a full cup of water. And every time I cover this and I teach this, and in fact, I teach this in a course that I offer once a year called Launch. And people go crazy. They hate this. Drink a cup of water. I don't want to drink. I need coffee. Let me just explain why this matters. First of all, you need water. And every single one of us underestimates the crucial role that water plays in your body, brain, and spirit operating effectively. And most of us are dragging ourselves out of bed, and the first thing we hydrate with, coffee or tea or something other than water. And let's just stop and consider the importance of water. Water comprises 45 to 75% of your body weight. That's amazing. And 80% of your brain composition. It transports nutrients. It regulates your temperature. It has a huge role to play in lubricating your joints and allowing your internal organs to work properly. It gives structure to your tissues, to your cells. It's a critical component of your heart being able to pump. I mean, you can go a month or two, right, without food. You wouldn't last more than a week without water. That's how critical this is. Now, I'm not going to get into how much do I need to drink all day. We'll do a whole nother episode about hydration and proper hydration and how much you should be drinking. All I'm telling you is step number 4 of a science-backed morning routine is get water in first thing in the morning. And I want you to make it part of your system that you drink a full cup of water before you start slamming the caffeine. And there's so many reasons why this is important. There's an incredible book called Brain Food, The Surprising Science of Eating for Cognitive Power. And in it, it's fascinating the role that water plays. For example, did you know that when you don't drink enough water, you want to know what you feel? Brain fog. You're exhausted. You have headaches and you have mood swings. And step 4 of your new morning routine and the system you're going to create for yourself of just drinking a cup of water before you do anything else, it's simply just starting you to get aware of how important it is, to become more conscious of it so that you start taking better care of yourself. In fact, simply drinking more water, it can be one of the easiest and healthiest changes that you can make for your overall health and for your brain functioning. And here's a huge reason why this matters. I used to be the kind of person that once I dragged myself out of bed and I made my bed and then I high-fived myself in the mirror, I army crawled to the coffee maker. Like I could not start my day without doing a tap suck of the Nespresso machine. I mean, I just literally like, give me the coffee. Give me that. I can't wake up without coffee. I didn't understand the science. And then Dr. Amy Shah came onto the podcast and explained to me, and I'm going to share it with you so that you don't miss a thing. She basically said that if you drink coffee or any form of caffeine first thing in the morning, meaning within the first hour or two of waking up, you are screwing yourself over because there is this sleepy chemical that's in your brain called adenosine. And when you wake up, it takes your brain an hour or two to flush the adenosine, this sleepy chemical, out of your brain so you can wake up. This is why you're groggy. But if you're like the old Mel Robbins and you're army crawling your way to the big gulp cup of coffee first thing in the morning, you know what you're doing? That caffeine in the coffee, it is trapping the adenosine in your brain. The caffeine is preventing your brain from flushing this sleepy chemical out. And so if you ever notice that if you have coffee first thing in the morning, about 2 hours later, you're like, I need a second cup. And then halfway through the day, you're like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. I gotta have another cup. I used to be the kind of person that would, I'm almost embarrassed to tell you, would have at least 6 cups of coffee. Then when I moved to lattes, it would be at least 3 like double, triple shot lattes. I was chasing the caffeine. This one change, step 4, drink a cup of water. Full cup of water, first thing when you get up, and then wait at least an hour for your first cup of coffee. I know. You don't want to. Just try it once, please. Try it once. Try it once and see what happens, because I'm going to tell you what happened in my life. I drank a cup of water. I set the timer. I was gripping for 90 minutes before I could have my first cup of coffee. And then something crazy happened. I didn't crave a second one. I have gone from being a person who drinks coffee all day long to waking up and drinking a full cup of water. I'm not even craving the cup of coffee. I then enjoy a cup of coffee about 90 minutes to 2 hours later, and I don't ever need a second one. It's incredible. And so that's why I say step 4 is drink a full cup of water and then try to delay your caffeine for at least an hour. And, just as a side, I have to tell you something. We did an internal research project with a focus group about what I'm sharing with you right now. And the results were extraordinary. We put a group of people together and we walked them through this morning routine. And the feedback that we got specifically on starting your day and drinking a big cup of water first thing and then delaying caffeine, it was insane. They quit coffee. I mean, they'll drink decaf every once in a while, but here's the reason. They're using science to leverage the potential and capacity of your brain power and your natural wiring. So you don't need to be chasing these things. When you understand the science, you can activate all of the amazing programming and possibility of your mind, body, and spirit. And that's what's available to you. And that brings me to number 5. Get outside and take in morning light. So we had Dr. Rebecca Robbins from Harvard Medical School on the podcast, and she's a really important expert on this topic because she is a world-renowned expert on sleep. She runs one of the most respected sleep clinics and labs in the world. She's doing research on this. Her research is the research everybody who writes books about sleep is actually citing. And she's the one that came in and talked about the importance of exposure to light first thing in the morning for your overall health. And you and I tend to think about things like, okay, gotta exercise, we gotta eat right, we gotta be in great relationships with people. That's all true. But you also need to take care of your circadian rhythm. And doing this first thing checks the box. And I love that. First thing, get outside, look out the window, whatever you need to do. Dr. Robbins said that exposure to morning sunlight is crucial to reset your body's internal clock and help you transition into the awake phase. In fact, getting morning light is one of the most important things that you can do to get better sleep at night. Because when you get morning light, it not only helps you move into an awake phase, it starts the internal timer in your body that starts to count down toward when it's going to be time to go to bed. That's why this matters so much. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, Mel, well, what about if it's cloudy? Well, this is what Dr. Rebecca Robbins had to say. Even if it's a cloudy day, getting outside will get you the sunlight exposure that you need in your eyes, and it'll stop the floodgates of melatonin and begin your day. It is a complete myth that a cloudy day can hamper that or dampen that ability. Same thing with a rainy day. Complete myth that just because it's raining, that the type of light that's coming through the clouds isn't going to help you. Now, you don't want to go out and stare blindly at the sun. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about stepping outside and actually getting the light exposure. And so how much light should you get? Now, I like a 5, 10, 20 rule. And a lot of this comes from research that neuroscientist Andrew Huberman of the podcast Huberman Lab has made wildly popular with people right now. But I break it down this way, 5, 10, 20. If it's sunny outside, just be outside for 5 minutes. If it's cloudy outside, be outside for 10 minutes. If it's raining or it's not great outside, or you can only get bright artificial light inside first thing, 20 minutes. That's your rule. And finally, what am I doing? What am I doing after I step outside? You got to move your body. Ugh. Really, Mel? Yes, you do. Now, if I got to wave a magic wand and I were able to tell you exactly what to do, for my age group, I'm a 56-year-old woman. It's all about strength training and getting outside and walking. But I'm going to tell you something. For this system, all I'm going to ask you to do, 10-minute walk. That's it. 10-minute walk every morning. And why am I asking you to just add to your system a 10-minute walk? There's a number of reasons why. First of all, the research is very clear, and it's also shocking, the benefit that a simple 10-minute walk can have on your health. It can add years to your life. But I also want to highlight the things that it does for you immediately, like how you feel when you start the walk versus how you feel 10 minutes later is shocking. And I think you kind of know this, but it's important to go through this so that I just remind you of why this matters and why it's important that this is part of your system every single morning. It clears out any of the overwhelm and the overthinking and the anxiety that you may have. It immediately boosts your mood. There is this research around what happens when you're walking. The term is called forward ambulation. That sounds like super fancy, right? Which makes me want to do it because you and I hear walk and we're like, oh, for God's sakes, a walk for real, Mel? Yes. Forward ambulation is what's happening when you're walking. See, you get into this mode where you're walking, you're moving your legs, you're swinging your arms, and you get into this optic and auditory flow state where your brain is now kind of having to absorb all this input around you. From the path that you're on to the traffic going by to the birds in the trees. And this input changes how you see the world. This input, as you're walking and you've got this new optic and auditory flow, what does it do? It quiets your anxiety. Why? Because there's all this new input. Instead of sitting there in your bed ruminating and feeling overwhelmed, you're flipping on this switch inside your brain that helps with overthinking. And what's super cool is even if you have low vision, and we have an extraordinary producer on our team that's legally blind, it still works. And the reason why is because sound becomes your primary sense. And the same phenomenon happens with auditory flow. So whether you have visual or auditory flow, it has a powerful documented effect on your nervous system, and it changes the way your brain is working. And the reason why I recommend a 10-minute walk is because that's what the literature says. That's all that you need. You can put your kids in the stroller and go around the block. You can find 10 minutes to walk the dogs real quick. And that's why I'm saying get out there for 10 minutes. And have you realized that you can combine 5 and 6? Yeah. So when you step outside to get light into your eyes first thing in the morning to set the circadian rhythm, just start walking for 10 minutes. It's going to put you in a better mood. It's going to make you more productive. This is all research backed. And if you do it without being on the phone or listening to something, meaning you take a quiet walk, The research is incredible about how it helps you create a stronger, more relaxed, and confident mindset. And that's why I say that the sixth step is a 10-minute walk outside. And the other reason why I'm focusing on 10 minutes is because systems work when you can do them. And I don't want your morning routine to be so complicated and time consuming that you have to opt out of it. I want you to build a morning routine and create a system that starts your day that puts you first, that leverages the science, that is something that you can do, whether you have a super busy day or you're on vacation. I want you to be able to use the same system, whether you're in a hotel or you're visiting friends or you're at home. Because if you can do the system anywhere, the system is truly going to work for you. So let's settle the debate once and for all. Is it true that some of us are just not morning people and never will be? If you don't consider yourself a morning person, or you just find it's hard to create and stick to a good morning routine, well, your friend Mel, I got the answers. I have dug into the science. I have so much amazing news to share with you.